something else was beginning to arise in the world, and what it was this brand new movement for liberation, our own personal liberation movement. The emergence of a thing called the Union of Councils for Soviet Jews. They were NASA scientists who went to do studies in the former Soviet Union with Soviet scientists, all kinds of exchanges around the space program. And they came back and they said, there are Jews there, and you know what? They're oppressed, and you know what? They care, and you know what? They're looking to find themselves. I started to work in the Jewish community in 1970, just when the Union of Councils was getting started, and there began to be some demonstrations in New York, some crying out, and here's the other thing that was amazing for me, which was that a young, completely crazy rabbi began to rally the population, and his name was Avi Weiss. Now, Avi Weiss was instrumental in the Soviet Jewry movement because his vision of liberation and his vision of what we owed to our people, all of a sudden, so many young American Jews realized that they weren't just part of some big international youth movement, but that we actually had something special about ourselves. We began to hear that the National Jewish Community Relations Advisory Council was beginning to organize a huge rally around a visit that Gorbachev was planning to come to the United States to meet with President Reagan. But it was felt that if we had a large enough demonstration, you could literally break the back of anti-Semitism in the former Soviet Union and open the gates. If something huge happened, Gorbachev was not as negative about it as those who came before him. There was an opening, there was a possibility of change. So here you have this emergence of an activism that can appeal to Jews for who we are. We're just beginning to remember who we are. And we said, guess what? This is the opportunity of a lifetime. We will do whatever is necessary.
When we arrived, it was 250,000 people. It was the largest march in the history of Washington. So it was overwhelming. When I emigrated, I had to apply for exit visas. We applied in 1979. We were lucky to wait for only 2 years, not knowing if we'll get it. It seemed almost impossible. When I got to leave the goddamn Soviet Union, it was the happiest day of my life.
You never know until you get the visa. You never know that everything is okay. Until you are in the airplane. Now we're crossing the border of the Soviet Union. Until that moment, you were not sure 100% that when the Tsarelson's family left, we get a postcard from Avir. This is a local Central Moscow immigration. It meant that your application is rejected.
I left my friend in Russia not knowing if I would ever see him again. He became a refugee and it was a terrible ordeal.
I did know that Boris, after his departure, advocating very actively for our family. Boris and Vera organized a campaign to support us. They addressed a number of Jewish organizations. They sent letters to the American high-level officials. And the text was very short and clear. Let Aronov's family leave the Soviet Union. I received the exit visa in the February of 1988. And just a couple of days after that, I called Boris and Vera, and she told me that Boris left to Washington for the big march.
I made a homemade sign, let Aronov go. Interestingly enough, well, he was freed right before the beginning of the march, and I found about it when I arrived in Washington at about 5 o'clock in the morning. They probably were scared of me with this sign, let Aronov go, so they let him go prematurely.
And they say that President Reagan said to Gorbachev, if you think you're going to have any special relationship with the United States, no matter what else you do, if you don't free Soviet Jewry, you can see that crowd out there. it won't go anywhere. You've got to make a change on this.
Mr. Gorbachev, let these people go. Let them go. Let them go.
I felt unity with these people. I was not a Russian Jew anymore, I was American Jew. I felt eternal gratitude that so many people were trying to help Jews in Russia. My friends live close by. I can call them at midnight and say what they're doing, ask them what they're doing, or maybe we can get together in 10 minutes. That's the best feeling. Plus, nobody is listening to our phone, and we are free to say what we want and when we want.
Imagine what it means to the Jewish identity of a kid. My son Ari was 9 years old. It's an amazing memory for him and for me that we were there together and that we participated in something that was historic. Look, that experience of fighting for Soviet Jewry, but also with Soviet Jewry, this helped them to gain their freedom, but in a way, this helped us to spark a renaissance in Jewish identity. The solidarity with the Soviet Jews was an amazing part of our understanding of who we were as Jews.
People, when they first came, were on the matching grant, but that didn't last that long, and we really wanted people to become self-sufficient and have this become their country.
My family's story of coming to America is actually very interesting, especially from the memories of a 4-year-old traveling overseas. When we moved from Russia to the United States, we lived in a small little place in New York, and immediately my parents had to find some jobs.
People from the former Soviet Union were starting to come in, slowly but surely, and then it grew and grew. We provided employment services.
The life in Russia, in Moscow, was difficult at that time, dangerous, and we decided to join our family, our relatives in Boston.
It's scary, you don't know the language, you have to start preschool, but we had to work hard at it. We really had to work hard because our parents were working hard. There was no second place. It was, you have to study, you have to get ahead. That's why we came here. No excuses.
I was personally, as a physician, was just graduated medical school and was looking forward to see what's here. How can I continue my profession? We were amazed how people were glad to see us here, how they've been open to us, to how much patience they have to explain the life here, answer our questions, and giving us a hand.
We helped a lot of people become citizens as part of a collaborative of some of the other agencies, and that's when you really feel like they made it in that sense too, and that's just really beautiful.
My family's immigration was probably the most profound factor in my entire life. As a Russian Jew, we have to understand where we came from.
It's not just about Jewish survival. It's about the beauty of our culture.
One of the most important things that I've learned by coming to events like the RJCF Gala and interacting with other folks in the community is that it takes a long time to understand it's not just about you. It's about giving back to the community. And it really is about the charitable, altruistic aspect of helping people that need help. And that doesn't mean just me, it means all of us, and anyone who's able to help should really think about it.
We are so part of the same consciousness raising, so part of the same movement, so part of the same generation. And that's really the lesson for the future. That whatever the differences we have politically or otherwise, that we are tied together at the hip. And in terms of Jewish identity, I know we will continue to rise. We will continue to build a strong future for all of us here in Boston and throughout the country.